Your brain is lying to you right now. Not because something is wrong with it, because that is literally what brains do. They hand you the first answer that feels right and move on. Fast, efficient, done. And you accepted it. Every time. About every decision, every person, every situation you thought you fully understood. But there is one switch, one specific mental move that breaks that cycle completely. It does not require more intelligence. It does not require more confidence. It just requires knowing the cheat code. And nobody taught you this. Until right now. The ceiling nobody talks about. Every brain has a limit. Not a permanent one. Not a fixed one. But a default one. Here is what that looks like in real life. You are facing a decision. Could be big, could be small. You think it over. You go back and forth. And then at some point, your brain just stops. It picks a lane. It hands you an answer. And even if something feels slightly off about it, you go with it because the thinking felt complete. It was not complete. It just hit the ceiling. This happens to everyone. The sharp people in your office. The confident people in your social circle. The ones who always seem to have an answer ready. They are all operating from the same default ceiling. They just never noticed it because nobody ever pointed at it and said, "That is the problem right there." The ceiling is not your intelligence. The ceiling is your brain's first draft. And almost every person you have ever met is living their entire life on that first draft, making decisions, forming opinions, building relationships, all from the shallowest layer of their own thinking. There is a layer underneath it. And that is where this goes. Why your brain limits itself. Your brain is not trying to fail you. It is trying to save you. The brain's #1 job is efficiency. It is constantly burning energy, and it needs to conserve as much as possible. So it developed a shortcut. Find the first answer that is good enough and stop processing. Psychologists call this cognitive closure. Your brain calls it done. This worked perfectly for survival. You see something moving in the dark. You do not need to think deeply. You need to move fast. First answer wins. But you are not running from anything in the dark. You are making decisions about your career, your relationships, your future. And your brain is still handing you first drafts and calling them finished work. The problem is not that your brain does this. The problem is that you never learned how to catch it doing it. That is exactly what the cheat code fixes. It is not about thinking harder. It is about stepping above the draft and seeing it for what it is. A starting point, not an answer. The cheat code, what it actually is. Forget the clinical definition. Here is what this actually feels like. You are in a conversation, and you catch yourself reacting before you have finished processing what was said. You feel the response forming before your brain has actually done the work. Or you're in the middle of making a decision, and something in you pulls back slightly. Not anxiety, not doubt, just a quiet signal that there is more here than the surface is showing. Or you replay a conversation hours later and suddenly see it completely differently than you did in the moment. What you thought was an argument was actually a misunderstanding. What felt like rejection was actually fear. That pull, that signal, that replay. That is metacognition already running inside you. Untrained, unfocused, accidental. Richard Feynman, one of the greatest physicists who ever lived, said there is a difference between knowing the name of something and actually knowing something. Most people know the name of their own thoughts. They can label the emotion. They can describe the situation. But they have never gone one level deeper to examine the thinking underneath the thought. That one level is everything, and it has 3 specific entry points. Real quick, if your brain is already connecting this to something in your own life right now, comment. Cheat code below. Not later. Right now, while it is hitting. Because what comes next are the 3 actual entry points. And the first one alone will change how you make every decision starting today. Cheat code, layer 1, decoding. Most people experience their thinking as a feeling. They feel stuck. They feel anxious. They feel certain. And they treat that feeling as the final answer. Decoding means translating the feeling into the actual thought underneath it. Here is what that looks like. You feel anxious about a decision. That is the surface. You decode it. You ask yourself, what do I actually believe is true about this situation right now? And the real answer comes up. I believe I am going to fail at this and look stupid in front of people whose opinion matters to me. Now you are working with something real. Now you can actually examine it. Is that belief accurate? Where did it come from? Is it based on evidence Or is it based on a story your brain has been running since you were 16 years old? The feeling was just the symptom. The decoded thought is the actual thing to work with. Practice this once a day. Next time you feel stuck on anything, do not ask, "What should I do?" Ask, "What do I actually believe is true about this right now?" Write it down if you have to. Say it out loud if that helps. Decisions that used to loop for days will start resolving in hours. Not because you got smarter, because you stopped thinking around the real problem and started looking directly at it. Cheat code, layer 2. Interrupting. Your brain commits to its first read of a situation within 30 seconds. And once it commits, everything that comes after is just justification. You are no longer thinking, you are defending. This is the ceiling in action. And interrupting it is the second entry point of the cheat code. Here is the move. Whenever you reach a conclusion about a person, a situation, a decision, before you act on it, you ask one question. What would have to be true for the complete opposite to be correct? You are not trying to change your mind. You are not trying to be fair or balanced. You are holding the conclusion open for 60 more seconds to see if it holds under the slightest pressure. Sometimes it holds. Good. Now you know it is solid. Sometimes it does not. And that crack you just found in 60 seconds would have cost you weeks of damage if you had acted on the first draft. This is not doubt. This is not overthinking. This is the exact move that separates people who are consistently right from people who are only occasionally right. The consistently right people are not smarter. They just interrupt the first draft before it becomes a decision. The discomfort you feel when you do this, that resistance, that is the ceiling cracking. Stay in it. Cheat code layer 3, operating from above. The first two layers work in private, in your own head, on your own time. Layer 3 is doing it live, in a real conversation, under actual pressure, when it matters. This is where the cheat code becomes an advantage nobody else in the room has access to. Here is the reality of how most people think under pressure. They get faster and shallower. The stakes go up, and the quality of thinking goes down. They react harder, defend louder, process less. Trained metacognition does the exact opposite. Pressure becomes a signal to slow the internal process down, not speed it up. The practice is one question. In your next high-stakes conversation, before you respond to anything that triggers a reaction in you, run this internally. Am I reacting to what was actually said, or to what I assumed was meant? 2 seconds. Nobody sees you do it, but what comes out of your mouth after those 2 seconds will be different, calmer, more accurate, more effective, and the person across from you will feel that difference, even if they cannot explain why you suddenly seem like the most composed, most clear-headed person they have talked to in a long time. That is the cheat code running in real time, the trap most people fall into. You understand this now, and that is actually where the danger is, because understanding it and using it are two completely different things. And most people, after watching something like this, will feel the clarity, feel the shift, maybe even talk about it with someone, and then change absolutely nothing. Not because they are not serious, because the brain resists new operating patterns the same way it resists anything that forces it off the default setting. It will hand you the first draft again tomorrow morning, like nothing happened tonight. The only thing that beats that is repetition, not intensity, not motivation, repetition. Do not try all 3 layers at once. That is the mistake. Pick one. Run it every day this week. Let it become the new default before you add the next one. The cheat code does not activate the moment you understand it. It activates the moment you have used it enough times that your brain stops fighting it and starts running it automatically. The activation plan. Week 1. Decoding only. 1 stuck feeling per day. Translate it into the actual belief underneath. Write it down. That is the whole job. Week 2. Add interrupting. 1 conclusion per day. Hold it open for 60 seconds with the opposite question. Once. That is it. Week 3. Operating from above. 1 real conversation. 1 internal question before you respond. Just once. Week 4. Run all 3 together on the biggest challenge sitting in front of you right now. 1 layer. 1 week. No skipping ahead. You came into this thinking your brain had limits. It does not. It has defaults. And defaults can be changed. Not with more effort. Not with more discipline. With 1 specific shift in how you relate to your own thinking. Catching the first draft before it becomes the final answer. Holding conclusions open long enough to see if they hold. and staying one level above your own reactions when it actually counts. The cheat code was already inside you, running accidentally, firing at random. Now it has a direction. Comment, cheat code right now if you are running this starting today. I read every single one, and I will know exactly who is serious.